this year. The reason for us to have this hotel here in Sandton is because this is the richest square mile in Africa. Most of the hotels that we have here had been overpriced and it become unreachable for us as South Africans. So what we did is we said we will build our hotel for South Africans to be on the center of Sandton so that they can experience Sandton. People can come from different provinces. The corporate world can come from different provinces. They stay here. We are installed to the shopping complex, and we ride on the center close to Gautrain, and we can always afford our own people to do their functions like we are here today. We are so proud to be participating in our own government. Honorable Premier, thank you very much for allowing us to be hosting you here, and we hope this is the beginning of many more meetings that will be held here. Hotel Sky Sandton is the home of, one may say, the ANC. What do I mean? The Women's League, this is their home. The Youth League, this is their home. The Progressive Certification and Alliances, they are based here. And also the Black Business Forum, they are based here. So Hotel Sky Sandton, this is your home. This is where we want everyone in Gauteng to come here. This room you are in, as you can see, takes a maximum of 200, but it's one of the top range in terms of hybrid technology, where even people from 3 different continents can connect and can be able to appear and participate in dialogue whilst they are here. Okay? We are supported by 7 holding rooms and another 5 boardrooms where you can connect and participate with here live. On the 5th floor, we've got the contemporary dining restaurant, which we can use as a conference room, but it's mainly for dining purposes. You can come there, it's a la carte, you can serve buffet. And on the 2nd floor, we also have another, again, a business lounge, where you can come here and have your meetings, you can have your sweet things, you can eat your dinners, you can also hold your functions. On the 1st floor, we do have the main restaurant that takes up to 300 delegates that can get in here, and they can have their buffet, their breakfast. Even tonight, as you finish, if you need your dinner, it's right down on the 1st floor in Equinox Restaurant. Then we also have the swimming pool area. The swimming pool area, we had different functions this morning. It takes about 200 to 230 people depending on sitting staff. Where you can go, you can have some functions there, entertainment. You can even have informal businesses there whilst you're at the pool as well. So we thank you for coming to be with us, and we would want you to continue coming to be with us at Hotel Sky. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Hotel Sky. We really appreciate it. We want to acknowledge, I've seen Dr. Honest Mkari, NEC member of PPF, has just arrived, our own Dr. NHI, Dr. Honest Mkari. It's a remiss if I don't acknowledge another member of the NEC of PPF, Nomcebo Shabalala. You are acknowledged as well. We acknowledge also Progressive Citizens Forum and Progressive Business Forum represented by Debira Puti. You're welcome. So without wasting any time, let me call upon the stage the chair or the convener of Gauteng PPF, Hemera Dali, to give an overview remarks about PPF, about why we're here, and why it's very important for the middle strata to participate in colloquiums, in dialogues such as this one. Hemera Dali, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Program Director, and our newly from the box PTT Coordinator of PPF in Gauteng, Mr. Pet Baloyi. Good evening, colleagues. Nimadekwana, Reperile. What do you say in Zulu? Do you have Venda? It's like English. Morning, the Machironi. Afternoon, the Masiari. Evening, the Madekwana. So, others, I think we just say Sarivana. Whether it's in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, Sarivana. Thank you. I'm struggling a little bit with my voice, so I'm going to be drinking a lot of water here. Just bear with me. I like order, so I'll go straight into my notes. The coordinator, Mr. Pet, also gave me another responsibility that I thought he was going to cover, that of telling you about PPF. I'm very passionate about the Progressive Professionals Forum, so if I start talking, I may look like I invited you to listen to me, but I invited you to listen to the preview and also engage with the preview. So I will short leave his mandate. Once again, good evening, professionals, academics, entrepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the premiere of Gauteng post-SOPA engagement hosted by the Progressive Professionals Forum. It is truly an honor to stand before you today as we gather to delve into the critical discussions surrounding the development trajectory of our beloved province. Before we proceed, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to each and every one of you for gracing this occasion and with your presence. The diversity of expertise and perspective in this room is testament to the shared commitment we have towards advancement of Gauteng. The Gauteng Progressive Professionals Forum is a non-racial, non-sexist, non-xenophobic organization that remains steadfast in its dedication to realizing our country's developmental goals through policy research and advocacy. So what basically means is that as PPF, our reasons of existence, as we also call the middle strata, professionals, academics, and entrepreneurs, is that we come together collectively, harness and harvest our wisdom and expertise in different spheres that we have studied and also mastered through the course of life, and say, based on that wisdom, how can we make an input into the policies of this country that will take this country beyond and make a better future for ourselves and also for our children and the rest of South Africans. That is the only reason why PPF exists. As we embark on this journey together, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all our distinguished guests, including our esteemed Honorable Premier, Nasi Spani, for some of us who are from Tembisa, grew up in Tembisa, we've got the privilege to say Yasekasi. So we welcome you, Honorable Lesufi, and also other dignitaries present here tonight, including the distinguished professional and former SG, Dr. Baali Lesufi. Dr. Baali Lesufi is a friend and supporter of PPF. We draw a lot of wisdom from him, especially on economic models. As leadership, we invite him, close sessions, he gave us all the economic models. Quite knowledgeable, and very creative. The art of gathering data, interpreting it, I think is in his DNA. So we also invited him tonight so that he can also give us from the analytic point of view, as data or research is quite important to us on how we can progress in our province. I also acknowledge our newly appointed PTT in Gauteng. And once you start talking this language of PTT, RTTs, you must know that something happened. The engine has been overhauled. I'm the former chairperson of PPF in Gauteng. So by grace of God, I made it with the new team. So if you don't see other parts of the engine here, just know that they went for service and then we got new, or maybe they are going for refurbishment or recycling, but yeah. So, and blame it on DSG and the national leadership of PPF. But we are here, we are moving. Also, let me also acknowledge, RTT members from our regions, friends and supporters of PPF, including some of my family members. They always complain, Kanti, what is this thing that you're doing? I said, hey, you must vote for the leading party because the policies are good, but man, don't tell us this thing. So today I brought them, probably they will be convinced, I don't know, but so your presence here ain't a great value to our discussions, and we're looking forward to your insights. But a special word of gratitude to our sponsors, Hotel Sky Center. Hotel Sky Center. Hotel Sky Center. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hosting us. We really appreciate your generosity to host us as PPF. Our partners, our volunteers. Let me also acknowledge the ANC Middle Strata convener, or what they call PAB, Professionals, Academics and Business Sector convener, Comrade Andiswa Musai, and of course the Chief of Staff at the OPP, at the Office of the Premier's Office, Mr. Prince. You have played a critical role for us to be here. So you were very instrumental in making sure that we're here. We wouldn't be here if it was not your seamless coordinations. If I show you the stream of WhatsApp messages between the three of us. So I hope Mr. Musai didn't see that I'm popping up there. Otherwise could have given me a call and say, hey man, my friend, what's going on? But we appreciate you, Comrade Andiswa and Prince. Thank you. Furthermore, I would like to convey a poignant message, particularly directed to the esteemed Premier. Okay. No, I'm just preparing him. So if you don't have the whole thing, it's not because I don't like you, but let me put that indemnity or disclaimer up front. As members of the Middle Strata, we stand united in our commitment to the ideals of justice, transparency and fairness and ethical leadership. We cannot ignore the sentiments that have permeated our society. A collective frustration with the greed, corruption and dissonance witnessed in various leadership spheres. We have seen the erosion of the values that once defined the fight of freedom in different parts of the world. We find ourselves in crucial juncture where the appointment of executives with an unwavering commitment to eradicating corruption and incompetence becomes imperative. The venetic greed and immorality of few have cast doubts and shadows over the ANC-led government, leading many in the middle strata to question its credibility as a viable option. Premier, we implore you to appoint leaders who carry the burning ambition to cleanse our governance from the stains of corruption. The consequences of inaction are severe. They may lead to hyperinflation, wholesale looting, and potential ignominious defeat of the ANC in Gauteng. The middle strata represented by PPF implore you and demands that we must do away with the just rhetoric. We call for a fair process in availing opportunities you are creating in the province. We acknowledge the priorities we have set addressing high crime rate, deploying various modern technologies to fight crime. We acknowledge the priority of creating or dealing with unemployment. We also acknowledge the priority of dealing with load shedding, although we understand that that is not the mandate or the prerogative of the province. But you've done very well, and that is leadership that we need. However, we assert that these priorities are doomed to fail if the cancer of corruption remains unattended. Hence, we make a fervent call. A deep sense of mission is required to establish a clean and effective government. Keeping the government clean should not be an afterthought, but we implore you that you must make it your fourth priority, the bedrock upon which the success of all other three priorities rest. We as PPF align ourselves with your vision, but we stress the critical need for unyielding commitment to accountability and transparency. Every rand in revenue must be accounted for meticulously, ensuring it reaches the grassroots beneficiaries without being siphoned off along the way. This is not just a plea, it is a call for a fundamental shift in the way we govern ourselves. We can draw lessons from Singapore governance model on keeping the government clean. My colleagues know how passionate I am with the Singapore as a lesson. Thank you. It's a gas. So perhaps when you come in the next 7th administration, you must take a trip to Singapore to learn firsthand how to deal with the elephant in the room, which is corruption, including probably your higher structure, the ANC. I see the ANC, NEC sometimes newly appointed, they always take a political tour to China to learn, but I've never seen a published report to say what have they learned and what they're gonna implement based on what that tour. So probably on their way back to South Africa, they must via Singapore to also learn how to deal with clean governance or keeping our government clean. Because we can have all these good policies, and that is the current situation. With most of the good policies, but corruption is making those good policies look as if you don't love the people of South Africa. As we engage in tonight's dialogue, let us keep in mind the imperative to establish a clean, effective government without which our aspirations for a prosperous and just Gauteng may remain elusive. As I conclude, I would like to remind you and afford you an opportunity to respond to some of the critical strategic pronouncements you made during 2023 SOPA, and also part of the ANC Gauteng resolutions. You have correctly committed the provincial government to purchase 60% of the goods and services from the townships. You made that announcement in your 2023 SOPA. Your discretionary goods and services budget is sitting at about 9 to 10 billion per annum. And 60% of that should amount to 5 to 6 billion per annum. So which means this is your target to spend buying goods and services in the township. When I checked some of the info data was that a few years ago, or before you made that pronouncement, I think the spend on township goods services was sitting about 12% or so. You can correct me, but I've done my little bit research and found that it was sitting at 12%. And the ambitious target of moving from 60%, from 12% to 60%, we're still not seeing how your Department of Economic Development, together with the Provincial Treasury, is going to enable that to happen. Because to procure 5 to 6 billion of goods and services in the township, which means you must have a lot of supply development of companies based in the township. Probably that's why the reason we're seeing some of these big companies now moving in the township. Probably they want to procure because you can't discriminate if you're saying that, or you don't have any policy to discriminate against them. If they've got a health tender to supply fruits and vegetables, it's a pick and pay sponsor shop in Jembisa or Soweto, so they can also participate. So let's work together to see how we can reach the target of 60%. It's a noble, ambitious target that comes from the heart of empowering the townships or township businesses. Is there a strategy to empower township-based businesses? Is there a strategy to capacitate them to perform and have enough capacity to supply and offer services to such value? What is the GPG supply development strategy to support these ambitions or targets? The Economic Development Department have not fully activated and declared the township zones as per the game changer law, which was launched, called the Township Economic Development. We made a lot noise about it. We got buy-in, PPF. I remember Comrade Khotso, when I was with PPF, very actively was leading that team on the inputs of Township Economic Development Act. It is an act now. Is it being practicalized? We're told that township will be declared as township economic zones, where those businesses in the township can have special benefits and incentives for setting up and operating in the township. Where is it? So that is one of the things that we need to really move together. The issues of, and this is for me, is quite, this is so one, the one I'm going to mention now, because I may be conflicted, but I'm representing BPF here, so please. The issue of the board appointments and political interference saw some of the professionals taking the MECs to courts, and is undesirable. As professionals, we are appealing to you to make sure that you monitor the appointments of board members. They must be qualified, and there's no political interference. So if it means that MECs, when they come in, they must be orientated on the relationship between the entities, the boards, and the professionals. Let's go through that. And what is painful sometimes, you find that these are comrades who are fighting amongst each other, and it doesn't give a good picture. So let us work around it. I know you have answers for the ETOS premium, but it will do good tonight just to tell the people start out is with the ETOS, because you will say this and then someone somewhere there publish that there's no deal with this thing, so the message is not coherent. So please clear these things once for all, because this overtakes professionals or middle stratas who are here. Wants to know what is happening. And lastly, on the issues that related to your SOPA, there's the issue of BBB implementation by departments. BBB, government entities and government are not exempted from implementing BBB. This was also one of your resolutions, I think one of the ANC resolutions, the previous one. I saw this resolution there, to say there must be implementation of BBB. So we implore you to make sure that you monitor this and make sure that Triple B is implemented. And this is where you're going to get your free budget for supply development, enterprise development, social CSI, skills development that you really much needed. You don't have to look for anywhere new money if your HODs are complying in implementing Triple BEE, mandated by law that there are percentages of what they must allocate to these departments or to these elements of Triple BEE. Without further ado, let me also cover one issue as I'm going to sit down that probably will cover what Pat asked me to do. And it has to do with why the middle strata. Middle strata, you can also read this. I'm quoting this from middle strata, or what is called 2022 Black African Middle Class Report. It was compiled by the UCT Institute. But just some few highlights to say why are we so important as middle strata is that there are about 7 million middle strata people in South Africa, which means people who earn 22,000 per month above. 7 million. Out of those 7 million, 3.4 million are black middle strata. So, you know, we like showing off. We may show off and think that we are there, we are equal with our counterparts. We're still not, in terms of numbers. So there is WMC, not the white monopoly capital. White middle strata class is still in majority than us as black people. So we need to note that. But also in our classes of middle strata, in terms of value in comparison with our counterparts who are whites, we still don't have the equal wealth, equal income than them. They are more higher than us. So there's still a discrepancy between the middle class, black middle class and white middle class. But as black middle class, our buying power per annum is about 400 billion. That's a lot of buying power that we have as black middle strata. So we need to note that. And that also reflect on us, Premier, to say, as we develop, and I know that you're passionate to bring the lower LSM so that they can also come. But also, with us as black middle strata, we need to reflect. We really need to reflect. To say, are we all about just showing posh cars? Because even the mentality of white middle class versus black middle class is different. The white middle class seeks to create wealth and leave wealth for their generations. With us, I want to give it Murwa, Porsche, the other, Ferrari, change, hire private jets and show as if it's mine, and then charity fail, and then I'm back again. It's a mega Suzuki shift. So let's also change. Let's also change to say, let's build wealth, and in building wealth, that is why you also create jobs. I was reading some of these things. I'm not going to mention names to say, if somebody over years gained consulting tenders for 2 billion and made huge profits, but didn't invest in any production of any commodity. What mentality is that? What are we showing as black people? You know? So let's also reflect as I'm going to sit down. I think I'm over time already. Thank you so much, but we implore you to enjoy the engagements tonight. Mr. Slicker, I didn't see you. That's my mentor from Tembisa. I can speak like this because he mentored me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, thanks very much, Co-Convener. You raised quite a number of issues which I think are the take-home for the Premier. You raised quite a number of issues that triggered the thinking provoked you, the middle strata, the thinkers, to guide the province in the right direction. You heard the speech. We heard the speech. It's about time we engaged the speech. So, Chair, thanks very much for raising the issues that you raised, and you raised them in good faith, I believe, because we are about building this country, and we cannot actually shy away from the issues that distract. So without wasting time, I'm going to call upon the DSG, Deputy Secretary General of PPF National, Comrade C.D. Mfigwe, to come to the fore and introduce our main speaker, the Premier of Gauteng, Comrade Panyaza Lesufi.
Thank you very much, Comrade Coordinator. I thought you guys will sing as I come to the podium. Professionals can sing. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I had prepared a preamble of 7 pages, but I'm putting it aside because the Premier's profile is 10 pages. And I'm going to read it for you so that tomorrow you live here knowing who is the Premier of Gauteng. Panyaza Lesufi was born in September 1968 at a place called Dindela in Ekurhuleni, somewhere there in Edenvale. His parents was forcefully removed from Dindela to Tembisa during the notorious Group Areas Act. He started his schooling at a primary school called Klama, proceeded to Tembisa Higher Primary School, then went on to be Tumelong Senior Secondary School. He did his tertiary education at the University of Natal, currently called the University of KwaZulu-Natal, the only province in the country with a name and a surname. Though his given name is Andrek, he is popularly known by the moniker Panyaza due to his passion and love for football, especially his beloved Morocco Salos FC. It's written here, Comrade Panyaza, it's not me. So blame it on the people in your office. As an activist, Comrade Panyaza has long been involved with the African National Congress-led mass democratic movement, spending his youth in the student and youth structured movement. He started his political activism obviously in Tembisa, driven by his passion for a united, non-racial and non-sexist South Africa. The Bitumelong Secondary School, later renamed Tabombeki by student activists in 1980, was the fulcrum and crucible of Panyaza's early political activism. While part of the broad struggle against apartheid, education became his foremost terrain of struggle. It can be said that transformation of the education sector has become an accidental lifetime passion for this former student activist. He was an active member and leader of the Congress of South African Students. All of us are products of the South African Student Congress, Schooler Lab, which was later renamed to Tembisa Student Congress, which replaced COSAS after its banning. As part of COSAS and later the Tembisa Career Center, Andrek Lesufi was also active in the National Education Crisis Committee. These organizations were affiliates of the United Democratic Front, strengthening the young Lesufi's grassroots activism. An avid anti-racist activist, he was constantly harassed by the apartheid police, especially the notorious Special Branch, for his troubles of being involved in the struggle against apartheid. He served a stint in detention in 1989 at Modabi prison, also went back in 1995, but he went to Durban City Prison this time, while spearheading his higher education transformation agenda. At university, he became an activist of the South African Student Congress in the then Natal region, later to be elected as the president of the SRC at the University of Natal Durban campus. He is a recipient of the university's Chief Albert Luthuli Award, presented to him by former President Thabo Mbeki. The university also bestowed onto him the best SRC president ever in recognition of his leadership qualities. We didn't know this information. Thank you, Office of the Premier, for this. So I'll boast about him in the legislature. I get one kids. Comrade Panyaza also worked within the non-governmental organization sector as an outreach manager at the Tembisa Career Center. Also participated in community structures like the CPF, South African Tertiary Institutions Sport Congress. He also led the Creative Arts Society. What's all being again? As a chairperson. An energetic and all-round activist, while he was also active in the self-defense units, defending the communities against the violence unleashed by the Third Force and the apartheid government in the 1980s and early 1990s. He was a member of the Provincial Executive Committee since 2007, served in the NEC's Education Subcommittee. He was elected as the Deputy Chairperson of the ANC in July 2018. He assumed the position of the Chairperson of the ANC in Gauteng on the 26th of June 2022. I was there. Comrade Panyaza has a deep interest in establishing new public institutions. We would have seen that when he was the MEC for Education. He was instrumental in the establishment of the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality as the key person behind the founding executive mayor, the late Bavumile Dlamini. May his soul rest in peace. He was also approached by the then Minister of Social Development, the late Dr. Zola Skweyiya, to team up in establishing what we know today as the South African Security Agency, SASA. In a nutshell, our comrade Premier Lesufi, an avid and very given spokesperson and advisor to the Minister of Education. He was appointed as the Minister of Education in the Gauteng province, a position he held from 2014 up until the 6th of October 2022, where he was elected as the 7th Premier of the province of Gauteng, taking over from the then former Premier, Comrade David Makhura. Comrade Panyaza Lesufi holds a master's degree in business administration. In fact, we must give him a PPF membership for him to be a member. Notably, he has worked in the post-1994 administration in various capacities, including Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality, Gauteng Department of Social Development, Gauteng Department of Education, Department of Basic Education, National Prosecution Authority, South African Police Service, as well as we said earlier on, he championed the formulation of SASA as we know it today. While we work with Comrade Panyaza, we say, remorse. He says, for us to be public servants with integrity, there should be more work. and let's talk. Okay. He then says, sunrise must never find us where sunset left us, because days are never counted backwards. I present to you Panyaza Lesufi.
Thank you. I must be honest, I was deeply worried because it sounded more like an obituary. And I was questioning myself whether this... Thanks so much. I want to acknowledge the entire national leadership of PPF, from the national president, the provincial convener, and all the regional leaders that are here. I also want to acknowledge the presence of our SG, Dr. Barili Hota. Thank you so much. Thank you for agreeing. I'm looking forward to your assessment of the work that you are doing. With you, I know it's an honest assessment, so feel free. There are some people who criticize me just on the basis that I'm a member of the African National Congress. So, I want to acknowledge the leadership of the PEC that is here. Andy, so thank you so much. See, Doc, thank you. And those that are representing various regions of our organization. I've seen those that are coming from our branches and other structures that are here. Let me acknowledge the Progressive Business Citizens Forum and the Progressive Business Forum that are here. You'll see I'm scared of the word business forum, but I hope we'll have some discussions on all the issues. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly and honestly humbled by your presence. I want to thank you for coming here so that we can share the vision of this beautiful province of our own called Gauteng. I also want to thank you for agreeing that we must come here and amplify the message that we delivered when we presented the State of the Province address. Your presence here is encouraging, and hopefully in this kind of a setup we'll have a proper session to deal with the issues that are affecting us. Let me start here. If Gauteng can't perform, the country will never perform. If Gauteng can contribute its fair share of its economic activities, will not have a country to really create opportunities for. So we are lucky to be given the responsibility to reposition this province, but at the same time, present it as an alternative to hopes and aspirations of our people. I normally get this question, and I'm glad when I answer it with the necessary pride. When people ask me and say, Premier, are you not scared when you have an average of almost 1.3 million people that comes to our province every year? And my response is said, I will never put a board at the entrances of Gauteng and say Gauteng is full. Because the more numbers we have, as long as they're legitimate, they're South Africans, that are documented, that is a huge economic spin-off that we can take advantage of and grow this province. But it means that we must have proper planning. Proper planning for schools, proper planning for hospitals, proper planning for infrastructure development, housing, and other things. And that's the limitation that we have. That we have never quantified the need for us to plan ahead and accommodate these numbers. We know, as I said, we've got 1.3 million. And I know next year is going to be 1.5. And the other year might be 1.7. But we have the infrastructure, the capability, the skill, and the talent for us to then reposition our province so that we can plan ahead and accommodate these numbers. So we are fortunate, good people, as this province. Other provinces, people are running away from them. We are fortunate that we have people that are coming to our province. And I can assure you, I always fight with the Premier of Eastern Cape. He says to Stats SA, when you do your accounting, do it in December. You will get there. Everyone is where they are during December. So don't do it during the year. When you do it in December, you'll get the correct reflection of who stays where and how they're doing it. And I say, no. It doesn't work that way. So with this number that is coming in, colleagues, we've got only 4 major challenges that if we get these challenges correct, plan accordingly, provide the necessary resources and the necessary skills, I really believe that our province will be a beautiful province to stay in. The first major challenge is the fight against crime. Let me tell you, if we can't get crime right in Gauteng, South Africa will never get crime right. And the second aspect is what I call lawlessness. We can't live in a country where people just do as they wish. They cut off traffic lights, they put informal settlement where they want, they open shops where they build their houses anywhere, anyhow. We have to have and take a firm stand and say no, not beyond here. And I'm proud, led by our HOD now. We've got a team that we've sent to Northern Cape to be trained to do something called anti-land invasion. They have been trained. We have to stop this thing of people erecting shacks every now and then. You go up as if you're going to Potchefstroom. You go to Potchefstroom, by the time you come back, there are new shacks that are happening. So lawlessness, good people, it's just that you need to have a proper timing. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because there are things that you can't do now, but there are things that you must do immediately after getting the new mandate of the 7th administration. And one of the key areas is to combat lawlessness head on. Yes. And I say, and I know the political team that works with me always say, no, Premier, don't do that. It's not your mandate. You know, the first thing that you need to build when you come back as the leadership of this movement to lead this province is to back the Minister of Justice. Good people, we need more and more and more presence to heckle and tackle lawlessness head on and ensure all of us can ensure that people don't do it as they wish. You can't have all the rails of the highway being removed and you don't know who has removed. And we can't have, you know, I don't want to mention them and you know them. You can't just have somebody who will drive on the opposite direction of traffic deliberately. And we just say, oh, it's part of life. It can't be. It's not. It's lawlessness. It's lawlessness. So we need to strengthen that element. And I'll come and unpack it later on how to work. And the other part within that is promised, and I'm glad you've raised it as the leadership of PPF. It's corruption. The level of corruption, good people, has reached levels that all of us must be ashamed. And I said to the team when I meet with the HODs and other things that, all I give out you, if you have not got what you've got, you seal the drain. From now on, we have to be fair. Now we have to put all the systems down to ensure that you don't encourage this. It's bad, I can tell you. No, you get embarrassed when you get this report and say, really, is this possible? So we really need to put up all the necessary systems to ensure that we fight corruption. And I can tell you, there is a generation that is refusing to be either promoted or appointed into senior position in government. A full generation. Yeah, 11, 12 years, 15 years at the same post. Because it is at that level that they feel that they can control whatever. If you speak about state capture, I always tell people, you don't know government capture. You don't know government capture. There are people that have captured the SCM of government, and they can dictate and determine who gets what, when, and how. And by the time you come as leadership, because people see, you know when they say there's corruption in education, the face that you put in newspaper is my face. But the reality is, there is a generation that don't qualify to get the lifestyle audits, they don't qualify to fill declaration form. But that generation, and I enjoy, and I always tell people, I enjoy going to something called DSTV Delicious. DSTV Delicious, and they call it Vodacom July, and now it's called the Hollywood or something. These are the managers. When they come at work, it's a polo. They come with polo. But when you go to DSTV Delicious, you see the real cars that they drive. You see the real cars that they drive. And I can tell you, where I stand, unless otherwise, there is no political influence. They are people that are taking decisions because they've been captured by certain institutions outside government. So that's an area that I really feel that we need to really put up the proper systems and other things. The second part that we need to get it right in Gauteng is what I call improving the lives of the poor in the townships, informal settlement and hostel. We call it TISH. Good people. Apartheid can't build Alexander, and we failed to elevate Alexander to be a better institution. It can't be. It's not in my blood. And I always tell the team, I had a session, Prof, talk with higher education institutions. I said to them, if you can't teach the current students of engineering how to build a better Alexander while people of Alexander stay in there and we go up and build a better Alexander, we have not started to teach them. Because any other foreign country, they don't have what we have. They don't have an Alexander. We have an Alexander. So we need to position our engineers to assist us to reposition areas like Alexander and other things. Reality is, we are products of townships. And the townships that made us, all of us, who we are now going back. They are worse and worse than where we are. And we have no solution and no plan on the table to say this is how we want to. So we said, when we come back, and I've given the task to the team, they will tell you, when we come back, I need a new photographic picture of the new Soweto beyond 2024. The new Katlehong beyond 2024. The new Alexander in a photographic session. To say, so this thing can be on autopilot. That it just grow itself. We don't even know where it's going. Whoever builds whatever can build whatever. So our townships are a major economic spin-off. I'll come to the issue that we've raised. Our major economic spin-off. But we need to plan. We need to put up systems. We need to have the necessary skills. And we need to have the necessary personnel that can take us to that level. And where we are now is an area that I can say we are struggling. I've raised the second part, which is the informal settlement. I like the names of this informal settlement. You know, Salamta, Sorobumberege. So they've outgrown us. They are far ahead of us. There's lack of social infrastructure. You don't have a clinic, you don't have sporting facilities, you don't have all these things that you need, schools and other things. They're in a bad state. Actually, they are becoming a trophy, if we are not careful, of what can be termed as a failed state. So we can't just say these informal settlements will just grow on their own and be whatever they want. We must come to a stage where you say it ends here, it stops here, we can't go beyond here, and this is our intervention plans. And unfortunately, and that's the part that we raise. Unfortunately, I don't want to blame managers of government. I don't have confidence that we've got those managers that can conceptualize and develop the ideas that we want and implement them so that we can have an end to this informal settlement. And I raise my hand. I'm the generation that is not going to create an extra informal settlement, but I'm a generation that will end and start to reverse the establishment. And we must have a targeted intervention for that and put up the necessary plans that we have. It goes to the next area as well. Maybe it's because I grew, it's not part of my the obituary that we have. I grew up in a hostel because the police were harassing me badly. So I'll hide at the hostel. At that time, the police didn't even think that we can sleep in hostel. There's a place called Block 4 Stoker Hostel in Tembisa. I was the person that was cooking for people by the time they come back from work, because I came from school early. Because you go to hostels in all our townships. They are not fit for a human being to stay. They are not fit. The ablution system has collapsed. You don't know who stays there, who doesn't stay there. They are meant for men, but you've got all generations there now. So we need to intervene. We need to intervene. We can't just and the team, when I said team, I want us to improve hostels. I said no, but get IFP there. And I said it's not the political parties there, it's the human beings that are there that makes us so regardless, even if it was AWB, I can't allow a human being to stay in those conditions. So within the shortest space of time, I'm glad that we've changed. There are 6 hostels that are owned by provincial government. You can't believe, I don't know how, but they're owned by provincial government. 6 of them, we've improved them. Every week they are cleaning, people that clean them. We have put mobile hospitals, there are doctors that are seeing people, there are nurses that are seeing people. I've even given them free data, and I put CCTV there. So we really need to improve the lives of our people. It's not about any other thing. As long as there is a human being, we really need to improve that. So that's another area that I really feel as a province we need to accelerate our intervention and deal with this thing. The third area is the economy, and I'll amplify it. The good people, me and you came here looking for gold. That gold is gone. It's gone. So we need to transit, and I want to thank Premier Makura. He specialized on really putting us into that transition. To say, this thing called gold is gone, let's repackage our province and then put economic nodes that will assist us. We've done that, colleagues. We've concluded, and I'm happy that we've concluded that aspect. We said in Johannesburg, forget about gold. The first key economic driver here is the financial sector. And sure, all the banks are here, and we are happy. All the banks are here, except one bank that fantasizes about Stellenbosch. But all the banks are here. You say FNB is here, Absa is here, Standard Bank is here. So we need to consolidate and create an environment that is conducive for them to do business here. And I'm glad that there are one sector that cooperates with us, work with us, and we are succeeding. We are getting whatever. The second one is the insurance sector. All the insurance sectors are here. Big, they are doing well. The third is the telecommunications. You have Vodacom, you have Cell C, you have MTN, they are here. We are bringing you a Huawei, we've lobbied them, they are here, they are growing here. Then we said the pharmaceutical industry. It's very big. To say we'll put Midrand to be an area where the pharmaceutical institutions, they're here, they're assisting us, they're growing with us, and providing all the necessary resources. So these are the new economic nodes. But how do you allow all these institutions to grow? And you can see the Mall of Africa, Mall of the South, and other things. It allows all these institutions to grow their business and create the environment that you have, and the new cities that have been created. So that is Johannesburg. And we said, let's go to the south. The advantage of the south is the river, they're called Vaal River. So let's take Vaal River, Vaal Dam, and create two important things. The first one is the water economy. Even though we're getting our water from Lesotho, we can take advantage. We can take advantage of the water economy and expand that area to be a water city of some sort. So we are developing as a water city. We might not have the beachfront like Cape Town and Durban, but Dubai has demonstrated that you can create this thing. Even if you don't have it, you can create it. So we want to create it on that side and ensure. And the good thing is that even investors of Dubai have been engaging with us to say they really believe they've saturated Dubai. It can't grow beyond where it is. So they're looking at Gauteng to say, we want to come to you. And we want to take them to the south and say, beautify the south. So something good will rise at that side. There's still economy there, but it's dying. But we'll continue with that. And that becomes another area of tourism that we think that we need to grow. Then you go to Ekurhuleni. So Ekurhuleni, manufacturing. Anything that is a transport that must be manufactured, from Zolabad, a bus, a train, it must come from Ekurhuleni. So we put up that infrastructure. All the Prasa trains now, they're built in Ekurhuleni, going all over. All the buses, some of them are built there. But we said we are creating a new economy at the airport, utilizing the airport now as a new area that can create the economy. So we've attracted DPS, we've attracted which this company that is doing food for all these major food stores. So we are the first province to convince DPS to say, don't take our gold and diamonds and take them outside and bring them as final. You must finalize, clean them, and make them final product here at the OR Tambo. And they've agreed, and they've hired many people that are doing that. So that's the intervention that we've made. So the big one is Tshwane. Tshwane is big in many aspects. The first one to say, let's take what we call the public sector economy. Public sector economy means all government offices must be in Tshwane. Ambassadors must be in Tshwane. You create a new parliament called an African Parliament. It must be in Tshwane. If possible, let's also persuade that parliament that is somewhere there, that it must migrate and come here as well, so that we can have it in our province. So that's one area that we've put. The second one is the motor vehicle industry. Colleagues, that's a massive industry. It's massive. Ford gave us almost 15 billion investment to say we support this. You don't want to take our cars to Durban, you want to take our cars to Lebega. You must put a railway line. So we're putting that railway line on there because they're putting a huge investment on our behalf. BMW is the same, Nissan is the same, and all that. But the new economy is what we call electric vehicles or energy vehicles. We need to overhaul everything and put them in our province. And they say by 2030, we need to have presented a plan to deal with those things. So I'm raising this because if you are in the middle strata business people, these are the areas of investment opportunities that we are talking about, so that we can be in a position to deal with it. And we are putting an element of research in Tshwane as well, that all the future things all the future things, convener, all the future things. We must have an institution there in Tshwane that must plan ahead. We can't buy everything from everyone. So let me share you this dream, bro. I enjoy this dream. I have this dream that you have a toilet seat. When you sit on top of the seat, of the toilet seat, it asks you for your WhatsApp number. So you punch up the WhatsApp number. And it asks the WhatsApp number of your doctor. You punch the WhatsApp number. After you've delivered whatever you have delivered, it analyzes. And it analyzes and it sends you a message to a doctor and says, "Dear doctor, out of what I've checked here, the likelihood of cancer, can you intervene now to stop the cancer?" So that's a toilet seat that you can take it anywhere. But we have the research capability and the research capacity to do that. Or a refrigerator. While you are still at work, convener, and you are late, you just send a WhatsApp to a refrigerator at home and say, "Dear refrigerator, can you defrost that chicken at this level and bring the tomato and onions, cook them at this particular level, and add that particular pepper sauce. And when you enter at home, the fridge say, "Dear convener, your food is ready." So we really need to then up our research capabilities, good people. It's clear that the world is moving towards that direction, and we need to create Gauteng as our new digital, the new digital economy that we have. So we are committed, therefore, to invest in that. And then the last part, then, sorry, that I took long, is our West End. The West End is the only area that we are keeping mining. We are bringing the Homona Lady, fantastic there, creating an economy on tourism, but also utilize it now as an area for agriculture, for our food security, so that we bring the food security component there and it assists us there. So that's now the formal way of changing the economy of Gauteng. That's the formal way. So what it means that to grow all these 5 regions, we are going to invest as government so that these 5 economic nodes grow on the basis of what you are saying. So the people don't come to us and say, no, Premier, you know, catering. We've gone beyond that. I'm not saying it's not here, but we have gone beyond that stage. We are putting all these economic nodes so that you can understand what we have. But as I said in my intro, if you can't fight crime in this province, we are out. And I'm proud, good people, the team that they've worked with now. We took a department of community safety. We said, you can't be a department of 1 billion department. We've increased it with 2 billion and we're increasing it to almost 7 billion in the next 3 years. Specifically to fight crime, and not fight crime with a Gnobkiri. Days of Gnobkiris are over. We need the necessary firepower to fight these criminals. You can't have a highway in the middle of a city, people close it and hijack a car or take something. We can't have people that, if you have your own money, you are going to be kidnapped and people can do as they wish. We have to put an end, and we must invest in it. So I said to the team, let's put all these face recognition cameras all over. Until South Africans complain about their privacy, it means these cameras are not enough. So we're putting CCTV cameras. We've just brought 6,000 on board. Business Against Crime is giving us, local government is good people. You can't have this kind of crime and you don't know what is happening. We say we don't know. We must use it as evidence, and people say, no, people that you say face recognition, they are not even registered with the database. But at least we will see you when we're in Midrand and see you again when we're in Kempton Park. At least we have your face. We can know that you are a problem. So we're investing in that. But there are things that we need to inconvenience the good people. And I'm really sorry about it. We need to inconvenience you. Crime in Gauteng, a motor vehicle is involved. Either as a getaway, or that car was stolen, and any other thing. So if we can't trace this car, we can't solve the problems. And what was the easiest thing? People just remove the number plate and put a new number plate. And now on, from the 1st of April, we are putting a number plate permanently. You can't remove it. It can't be that easy. It's permanent, and every year, when you come and renew your disc, your car disc, you visit the number plate to check whether it's still there, so that particular regime is indeed intact. Thirdly, and here I think all of you will agree with me, but I always tell people, even the elderly nowadays, good people, we must migrate from cash to cashless society. We must migrate. No matter how you remove cash, we know the cash heists are over. You remove cash, you know ATM bondings are over. You remove cash, you know business robberies are over. So the element of cash must assist us in the interim to eliminate this thing. Maybe in the future, we can bring it back. Those that glorified checkbook, they never thought they would live until checkbook are obsolete. Cash will be obsolete, and we must lead as a province, as Gauteng, because we've got the technology, we've got the connectivity, we've got the gadgets. We can lead to ensure that there's minimum cash, and we don't have this problem of criminals hijacking or bank robbing our bank. It's not easy to accept, because sometimes you want that coin to say in your pocket. But where we are, our crime prevention plan, we really believe that we need to eliminate that particular element and deal with it. So, good people, you have young people that are unemployed but they have crime. You can train those young people immediately and deploy them to go and fight crime. And I'm proud that you've taken 7,000 young people, every day doing nothing. They are now trained to go fight crime. And they are. They are. You know, there's one sporting coach, when they're having a sporting tournament, they say, no, we don't want police, we want those ones. Because those ones are there from the beginning until the end. And it's not out of our own making. I said to the Minister of Police and law enforcement agents, we are prepared. If you can hire 17,000 policemen, we are prepared to give you money. But unfortunately, they say the allocations and many other things, you can't do it. And that's what we really need. Good people, we don't need this 7,000. We need almost 18,000 people that can be trained as law enforcement agencies and spread them across all our areas. We can't surrender to criminals in our own country. We can't be scared of our own shadows in our own country. We can't turn our own homes to be prisons, where an economy that is so big in Gauteng, after 7 o'clock, all of us will close ourselves in our house, whereas the economy needs to pump, and purely because of crime. We have to put all our resources. So if there is something that I will resign if I fail to do it, is the ability to fight crime in this province. And we are committed. They can make noise, whoever that makes noise. We are committed, and that is why I said to the President, there are people called Zamazamas here. Please give us soldiers, they go there. I don't know your age group, there is a dancer called Skomota. So underneath where we are, those Zamazamas are scomoting now. Because we've unleashed soldiers, and those soldiers are reclaiming our minds back to us. So we need to put the fight against crime, and must not be apologetic. And I say to the team that is leading, we need to have permanent roadblocks in areas that we know the level of crimes are too high. You can't have a roadblock only month end and thereafter as if crime dies after month end. And I said to the police, we know month end, Oliver, Between Friday and Sunday, we'll have not less than 24 people dying there. So why do you wait to count the bodies? Whereas we can camp in Oliven from Monday to Sunday with all the police force so that we can protect our people. So that doing it now, going to all this. So the fight against crime, good people, and using the necessary technology will be the way out to assist us to deal with some of these issues. So we are excited as the provincial government that we've invested in those things. Within that is this common issue that you asked me about e-tolls. We want those e-tolls thing to be the gadgets to assist us to fight crime. We want to convert them. It's just that we have people who are not in our province, they are very rigid, they don't understand the pain and the difficulties that we have. So the e-tolls, people, we have, when we're preparing for the World Cup, 2010 World Cup, you know, those roads at that time, those that stays in Midrand, they'll tell Allendale Road, you will budget for 30 minutes before you pass Allendale. Main lane, Nazareth and others. So we then, our national government said, we are taking all these roads from you, Gauteng. We are making them national roads. They went to borrow 47 billion. And all those roads were, you know, you go to R21, no Kitty Magari Ugo Kayalami race course, because we brought in it and other thing. Then whatever happened. People said, no, I'm not paying for this thing. We tried to persuade, people said, I'm not paying for this thing. So as of last year, we have not paid the principal amount of 47 billion rand, but we have paid a penalties of not paying and servicing the debt of almost 21 billion rand. So you owe 47 billion, you are paying interest of 21 billion. So we went to national government as Gauteng and said, wait, this thing is not sustainable. We might keep quiet about it because we are just paying. Can't we reach a stage where we plan on how are we killing this 47 billion once and for all and start our lives? And it was within that context that we then made an offer as Gauteng. Our national treasurer will pay 30%, which is 13 billion. Pay 70%. And the reason why we want to pay 30% as Gauteng is because all these roads here are not used by people of Gauteng alone. So you can't punish people of Gauteng. So take 70% for all, we will take 30%. And then we agreed. And then that's when we made the announcement that e-tolls are history. When we wanted them to activate that e-tolls are history, those that we borrowed money said, no, we've reneged on many occasions. Show us, let Gauteng show us the 30%, where it is. So National Treasury said, no. In your next financial year, we are taking 12 or 13 billion from your budget to go and service that debt. And we said, no. I mean, the consequences are going to be severe. Schools will not have extra teachers, clinics will not have medication. So we said, no. What we are going to do, we are putting a revenue enhancement program. Out of that, the revenue enhancement program, we will also approach financial institutions that will give us that money so that we can pay that thing. So where we are, unfortunately, just because we have not presented, and that's the clarity that we wanted, we have not presented that formal say, this is the 13 billion and that's going to work. That's why the Minister of Treasury says there's no agreement with Gauteng on the things. But there is an agreement with Gauteng that e-tolls in Gauteng are history. And we're going to utilize the system of e-toll to fight crime in this particular province and assist those that we need to deal with. So that matter is clear. I want to move to the next issue, which is very close as well to, we call the health system. Good people, if government does what government must do, all of us here will save a lot of money. If education was giving us proper public education, you will not take your children to private education. If public health was giving us proper public health, you will not have the medical aid that you are paying. If public transport was indeed public transport, do not pay the petrol amount that you are paying. If police were doing their work, will not have security alarms and many other things. If Sputa was really sputtering all of us, will not have the generators and many other things. So, because the state is not playing that particular role, we're going through all these particular difficulties. So we're intervening as Gauteng to say, we want to enter that particular space and improve that space. We're starting with hospitals. And I've been criticized, Doc. We went to workers that have a fund. We said to them, can you ensure that you invest this amount to get 18 private hospitals? So there are private hospitals that want to close down because of NHI. They are scared of it. We say, can we get them so that we can improve? Just imagine if we have a private hospital, but we turn it into a public hospital and it behaves and control and the cleaning, the system are like that, but it's a public hospital. That will be a major shift in our progress. So we've got 18 hospitals that we are ready to take over as Gauteng, with the assistance of workers. And people say, no, it's not possible. They don't ask me, how did you do it? They just say, no, it's not possible. And I said to them, there is a hospital called Tembisa Hospital. Next to Tembisa Hospital, people that come from Tembisa. There is Zamugusha. We've taken over that hospital as the Gauteng government. We are doing our operations as Zamugusha for patients that can't do operation in Captain Park. There is a hospital that was built. There's a hospital that was built here in Parktown called Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. We've taken it over as a province. That hospital is now in partnership with the Gauteng provincial government. Rahima Musa, that was struggling, is now going to children, to that Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. There is a hospital here in Enoch Street called Sticks Murewa Private Hospital. We've taken it over as the Gauteng provincial government. Anyone with mental problems and issues of drugs, they are going to that hospital. So out of the 18, 3 are already in our pockets. That we are working on. But people don't understand. They just say, no, it's not possible. Panyaza is a dream. And I said, accuse me of being a dreamer rather than accuse me of snoring. We will enter. So we are changing the medical field. We are putting the technology that is needed. And I said to the team, it's not that we don't have the expertise to deal with these things. But you can't have somebody who pizza Maria tomorrow we pizza Madibuse. We have to ensure all our hospital network have the necessary identification system that ensures that one file, one patient, and one medicational system that you can have. And each and every person that takes medication, we put the infrastructure to deliver that medication at their houses. They don't have to come and queue at our hospitals. So we are overhauling that system so that we can deal with the issues that can improve our system. That goes with education, because those two are very important. With education, we invested in township education. And I don't want to take your time. We have 3 township schools. One is called Raymond Tumhlaba. It's here in Sepisong in the Western End. This is the only township school that has given us 100% metric pass. Out of 100 metric pass, 85% is bachelor passes in the township. So it's part of our investment to improve and ensure that there's quality education. And I can quote many. We've changed our schools of specialization. We say each and every school must specialize in Gauteng. according to the economic notes that I shared with you, there's a school, Soshanguve Technical School. We've teamed up with BMW Germany to say, BMW, your car is all over our township and all our, but there's no way that you can't teach our children how to build that car. That school of specialization, children while they're still in matric, they are taught how to build a BMW and how to put the engine and remove the engine of BMW. That's it. So we are putting all those schools across all the provinces so that we can indeed improve the schooling environment. I want to conclude on these crucial areas. Is the capacity of the state so that the state has the capacity to do its work. Good people, we need to overhaul the state, unfortunately. And when I say overhaul, is to address the issues that you've raised. We can do whatever that we want to do, but until we realize that the state also has the capacity to do things as a state, and those particular things can be in a position to improve the lives of our people, we have to do that. There's a proposal that is on the table. It's either this thing, but let me put it. There's a proposal that is on the table that you can't have, I mean, if you've gone to the townships anytime, it is as if it's a holiday. You can't have so many people that are unemployed. And no matter how this economy can perform, this particular individual will not be employed because the skills levels are different. So we want to kickstart it and put the capacity of the state to say each and every 4-room house in the townships that has not been touched. So it has been built by apartheid. It has been like that forever. You know all those houses in the townships. We want to take a risk as part of building the capacity of the state that each and every house of that magnitude, we build 2 extra rooms and a garage, but take all young people that are unemployed, go and train them to be the one to come and build those 2 rooms and those particular garages so that they're employed and we kickstart the economy of our townships. That's bold, that's brave, it needs resources, it needs a state that has the capacity to deal with things. And I can tell you, we don't have that capacity. So we need to build that capacity and improve our townships and the areas that we have. So I don't want, as I said, you can Google the speech, but we are putting up all these things to ensure that the state has the capacity and we can reclaim it. And we can't reclaim it until we reclaim Johannesburg CBD. We can't leave that CBD the way it is. And be proud that we are the generation that left that CBD. So we need to reclaim it and all major CBDs and put the proper systems that can show that we resuscitate this institution. So I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you. We can't be a generation that will leave our country to collapse. We can't be a generation that can't be creative and take our province to the next level. We can't be a generation that can't even improve the house of our former president, Nelson Mandela, and leave it to Rome. We can't be a generation where, even where the Freedom Charter was adopted, we're embarrassed when we have to pass it. We can't be a generation that can surrender to criminals and be a generation that glorifies informal settlement. In our capabilities, I'm raising my hand, and I hope you are joining me. We are the generation that will change that mentality, and we are the generation that will build a new Gauteng. And a new Gauteng needs your skills, your ideas, and your investment. If we put them together, a new Gauteng will rise, and it will be a better Gauteng for all of us and for our children and our children's children. Thank you so much for attention.
Okay. Premier, you have enthused. You have enthused most of us and you called all of us to action. You put a challenge to the entrepreneurs, to academics, to people who deal with research and development. And you're saying, here's a dream. Are you dreaming alone? Or are we joining you in this dream to make it a reality? We have Dr. Pali Lehotla here. He's our discussant. He's known to all of us. Clarity of thought, wide-ranging issues, he dissects them. And he gives you his personal and, how do I put it, personal and honest views about how he feels, about how he sees things, because they're based on research. They're not thumbsucked. That is the most important thing about the discussant that we have here. We have him so that he can actually lead the way and we follow. We'll be able to engage the Premier in his speech, which was very, very incisive. Summary of it, brilliant. Not emotive, though he presented it with lots of emotions because he believes in that. So, Tate Palidoth, the prof. Please take the mic and then lead in the response. No, but up to CIG also. He doesn't want to wait that.
The yellow part of it is about sundowns. Premier, thank you very much for this very incredibly invigorating rendition. I couldn't prepare a response, but it looks like I have to change my response to what you have put across. I have a small presentation, but I'll use only the last slides because I can't come and rehash what we have already explained as the problem. The issue is, how do we, in the context of what we have seen, actually resolve these problems in the history of our trajectory, in the current macroeconomic framework? What does it imply as to what you actually confront? And how does this profession use its brains and power and advocacy to support that which we are talking about? Because the key enemy at times is capital. The fact that a hospital that was private reverts to public shows the vanity that we have been following around private is best on matters that are public. It can't be that education, how many children go to these schools, children that go to these schools, IEB, it's 20,000. 20,000 of them. And when the results come, we look at them with awe and including envy. For something that is not achievable. These things cost 100,000 a child. How many can afford that? And we imagine that we can actually have them. And that's where the destruction, the inequality is born in that space. Where 20,000 against 600,000 don't even, 600,000 write metric from the public schools. Of course, 600,000 of them have been lost along the way. And it is this inequality that disables us to do what needs to be done. Private security. Soon, these guys will be fighting over their clientele because they are private. I talked to Jackie Silebe. I said, Commissioner, he was DG. I said, are you aware that South Africans are spending 30 billion in private security on top of the 70 billion that is spent on police without actually being secure? What are we going to do about this? We pay tax of 100 billion to be less secure, and that has continued. That is why the security is a matter of public. And now the problem is, in these spaces where we have private security, our information is taken by everybody. Yeah. Now, that which is public information is now in private hands. This is a disservice to society. And you as professionals have to question these things. Premier have spoken about the notion of capital in a different way. Not capital, you have spoken about capital in a different way. And that capital has to be etched in geography and culture. Our economics is stripped of culture. And when economics is stripped of culture, it's no longer economics. It's not even finance, it's money, it's cash. Nothing else. There's nothing morally just in a system that removes culture from economics. And what the Premier has said today is talked about cultural economic geography, the essence of humanity. Once you remove culture and geography from economics, we have stripped it of its service to society. We've got to reclaim that. Yes, we've been of the Kasi, we have been of this, but that has become a unique advantage. And when you strip that Kasi, you remove the culture, you remove the weakness, the uniqueness. So, what I want to say, Premier, is this. I'll remind you of the speech of your predecessor when he said he wants Naila walk.
Yeah, Gwara Gwara.
He ended up in Gwara Gwara. That's what we have inherited. With all good intentions. With all the good intentions of a Naila walk, the corridors we have spoken about now are the same corridors he went through in 2020. The question is, why? And the question to you is, how are you going to resolve that problem? Because it's embedded in a macroeconomic framework. You as a province, you have very little money. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely no money to do the things that you want to do. And when you look at your plan, when we interrogate your plan, we'll show you that you don't have the money. And the plans that you have might just be pipe dream. Yet, they are authentic plans, they are actual plans that have to be implemented. Because without that, this country is going to the dogs. We will soon be a failed state. So who stands between those plans and what has to be done? One of the things that is very clearly standing between those plans is the evidence before us today. The Reserve Bank says we are giving away 150 billion. The Treasury says there are 2 pot systems. A third that you can borrow now, you can have now and eat it. And the 2/3, that is for your pension. Now, Reserve Bank has always been having this kind of money. And the pensions have always been there. But they are being unleashed for the wrong reasons. For consumption. Why, if we had done this before, we would be very far. And we wouldn't need to have a 2-pot system where we say, okay, let's use these pensions. Even in its full size, this pension is still too little. It can't meet my requirements. Now, when we have taken a third into the future, you die poor. So it is a matter of how our macroeconomic thinking is anchored. That's why you can't get the budget you want. So you go with a begging bowl. And these things that we want to do are not achievable until we think macroeconomics differently. And what has happened in the last few days of Reserve Bank saying 150 billion, and then the two-pot system. We could have used that money for development, for paying ESCOM's loan, for doing all of the things that we're talking about. And by now we'll be far. So we have to turn that confession that has been made for the wrong reasons into a confession that has to be made for the right reasons. We have to go and fight that economic battle. It cannot be that the plan that Premier Mahmoud could have had of a Naila walk that showed that Gauteng could produce 3 billion jobs by 2030 was undermined because each corridor was given tax money. Tax money is not enough to do the kinds of things that we want to do. You need a different macroeconomics framework that looks at the role of the Treasury and the role of the Reserve Bank in terms of being development agents, not supervisors and monitors of development, but acting in there as development agents. When we do that, Premier, you could be successful. Just put my slides, I'll go to the last one. Because that's where I want to say, the planning, the modeling. You have a plan, but I'm sure you can't guarantee that it will deliver because you haven't modeled it adequately. Because you don't have the capacity to do so. Look, I've been a civil servant for years, and I must say this. Having been absolutely frustrated by the absence of planning in government. I mean, the planning that happens in government is putting files together, side by side, and then they say they've planned. So, and then planning means at the data system, at the unit level of data, there's connectivity, there's interconnection. So that you have proof of concept and future proof of what you are doing. And that requires capacity to model. In the absence of modeling, you cannot achieve the things that you are thinking about bringing. Now, I got so frustrated. And I came across, I said I want to go and research. This part is not my field. I'm a statistician, I count beans. But, you know, you have to go over your boundaries when you see problems like this. You have to be an activist. So we then got at searching, and we found a modeling system. A modeling system that took advantage of the data that Statistics South Africa produced. And when I met this man, he said, you know, without the data that you have, I wouldn't have done this at all. Having looked at that, I said, well, now I'm sending statisticians, Statistics South Africa people to your institution to study. And I said, you guys, when they left, I said, you guys, you Statistics South Africa guys, when you come back, I want you to tell me whether the 9-point plan is going to work. They came back, they said, it is not going to work. I went to the DGs, I said, this thing is not going to work. They said, oh, you say it's not going to work. I said, yes. The team that I lead says so. I've engaged it, it's not going to work. And Mujolozi went and read the State of the Nation address. We now know that it didn't work. It is repeating the same things year and year in and year out, including the soul of the president. It's not going to work. So, colleagues, it's high time we face the reality that we need that capacity to model, because you can't run a modern state like this one on the back of a cigarette box calculation. You can't. We do not, at this point in time in this country, understand the manifestations of poverty and the implications of the macroeconomic analysis on poverty. Neither on unemployment. The report of the Minister of Treasury is on debt to GDP ratio, interest rates, growth and the like. The key things that we say are our enemy, poverty, inequality, and unemployment, are not modelable. Because the instruments we have don't do it. When the IMF comes, it then runs small-scale studies to talk about poverty and inequality, instead of an integrated system that says the implications of our decisions are this. So we cannot even tell what will happen in the future. Minister, Premier, the growth is projected at 1.6% and another 1.4%. Nothing big up to 2030. You are not going to get that kind of what you are thinking about unless we change the macroeconomic system. We are not. And in fact, they'll revise the projections because they usually overestimate and revise. So here is the moment. The moment is now. The Reserve Bank has unleashed 150 billion. The two-pot system is unleashing a third of our pensions coming back for us to come and eat. We need to model that and say, if you did this thing differently, what will it result in differently? And I'm sure when we do that, it will lead to unprecedented growth, unprecedented employment. It will sit well with your plans. It is this that we need to do. I said you should put here that thing. The last slide. Because I have to prove to you that it is doable. They said they will project it from there in the back. You see, Premier Makula had worked with us, sitting down and working on the projects, 160 projects, sitting project by project, showing that these projects are not going to deliver anything until you actually confront the Treasury and the Reserve Bank on these things. And then we modeled that when we have done that, Gauteng will produce 3 million jobs. It will grow, this country can grow at 6%. It is possible. Look at Bolivia, a small country in Latin America, more or less decided. And it is growing the fastest in that space. Because they have decided that the economy must work for people and society, not economy for economy. This is the revolution that we need. Otherwise, we will be trapped in this kind of thing forever. Now that the slide is not coming, let me tell you what the slide says. In 1994, the skill level of black people as a proportion of themselves was 20%, was 17%. Against the skill level of whites at 50%, of Indians at 45%, and coloreds at about 20%. Today, as I speak, 2024, because I analyzed these numbers as soon as the Statistician General releases them, I analyze them. Today, skill level of blacks still sits at 17% as a proportion. You can't build this economy at that level. It's impossible. You can't be 90% of the population and operate at a skill level of 17%. Indians and whites have grown to 65%. So, the arithmetic is clear. It's not even mathematics. The arithmetic is very clear. That we are stuck in a group of 17%, and we think that at a skill level of 17% we can change the country. We can't. Not when the education system is not delivered. Absolutely not delivered. The second observation that is there is that in 2008, for those who are 15 to 35, people who are 15 to 35 years of age. In 2008, for those who are 15 to 24, we employed 1.6 million of them. For those who are 25 to 34, We employed 4.8 million of them. 16 years later, the result of the Statistician General that he released last week show, and I've been tracking the statistics from 2018. It's not a result of COVID. It's a trend that started around 2018. From 1.6 million, that number has dropped to 1 million for those who are 15 to 34, 15 to 24, for a growing population. For those who are 25 to 34, that number has dropped by 400,000 to 4.4 million. If a young person in South Africa looks at ourselves and looks at this country, he says, there's no future here. Absolutely no future. And we are here ourselves. And when the state of the nation is read, we applaud. We haven't actually looked at the evidence. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we want to change this country, we must be guided by evidence. But that evidence, we must understand, has to connect at the data level so that a trend emerges that we understand and a trend that we know can change. Now, I'm giving that I'm told that I'm left with 3 minutes and I'll do that. Because I have to describe how the model works. You are spending an enormous amount on master plans. Yes, that's where everybody spends time. Master plan, this one master plan, that one master plan. At best, all those things will give you 1 percentage point growth. After all that energy, then, and that growth will be in addition to a point less than 1% that we are growing at now. So we'll get only 2%, and at 2%, you cannot tackle unemployment. Now, when we model and work on the result, on how we change the macroeconomic system, you actually get 1.6 percentage points growth in that. And then, when we've done that, the private sector can come and add another 1 percentage point. And then the provinces can add another 2%. And you can actually get to 5% quite quickly. But this comes out of an analysis of policies and grouping them in terms of how this policy. Now, we don't have people that can tackle that. That capacity doesn't exist. So we have a serious problem in the country. And that's why we have Economic Modeling Academy that tries to bring civil servants, but they don't come because they know they'll fail. So we need to do something about this thing. It's really so serious that when you see me writing every week about these things, it's because I have a deep understanding of what is happening. So here's something that business approach to as government. In February or March or July, business for South Africa. With a bunch of things, gifts, and said, government, let's sit down and talk. You ignored it, ignored business. And you ignored business because you don't have the knowledge base. Not that the business was coming with godly ideas, because they wanted to eat too. But what was very important in that premium is let's revisit that which business came to you with. In there they set the targets. The targets were, if we did all these things, business said, we'll grow at 6%. They said unemployment will drop to 15%. They said employment will grow between 6 and 8 million in that period. They said debt to GDP ratio will drop to 43%. They said the Gini will be 0.43. Now, from our modeling, the difference is this distance. Now, if we have to talk about social compact, that which business came with as the targets forms the basis for a social compact. What they don't have is the path, and the modeling that we provide is the path. And you, in your activism, And because your predecessor has been on that path, but was undermined, you can't be undermined twice. Lightning doesn't strike twice for the same sport, even if you come from Limpopo. So I'm appealing to us that we go back to the proposals of business and we work with the targets and we work backwards from the targets into the projects. Once you start giving some businesses coal or energy and others, you give them security and you give others that thing, you have divided business, you have broken. Absolutely. This is a wrong strategy that your government, Premier, and our government, because I'm still part of the civil service, it's a wrong strategy. We are going to have super corruption out of this thing that we are part of. You have the right thinking, you have the right formula, you have experimented. Let's get the knowledge basis to supplant it. Thank you very much.
You led the way. You led the way. It's time for questions, contributions and comments. That is the time. You listen to the speech, and if you don't have anything to say, say so. Okay. There is a hand there at the back. Okay, let's do it this way. We'll start there, then we'll come to this side, then we'll go to that side. And then what you do, you introduce yourself, your name, and where you come from, so that we've got an idea of the sector you're representing. I can see you are number 1, number 2, number 3 in a gray shirt, number 4 in a black shirt, and then number 5, number 6, number 7. Let's start there and then we'll come this side. Number 1.
A very good evening, Program Director, our Premier, and all protocols observed in case I mess them up. My name is Figile Kumalo. I am from the Greater Tanya region, from the PAB, and a member of the RUC. I would like to appreciate what the Premier said. When you say we do not need to go and buy anywhere, we can't buy from anyone, because you are making the statement, Premier, on the eve that the NCOP is going to be having public discussions or public engagements on the public procurement bill, a bill that is going to lead to the first public procurement act in South Africa, an act that is going to advocate for economic transformation. That is the driving force behind the public procurement bill to be enacted as an act. And in that, it talks about local content and local production that we know was revoked from the preferential procurement regulations because of the Constitutional Court judgment. So it is going to come back. And that is what you are exactly talking to, Premier, when you say we can't buy from anyone. So that means that we have to intensify manufacturing in South Africa. Manufacturing and production, not assembly. The question then, Premier, is how are we going to ensure that there is local production and local manufacturing. The key thing that we need to address will be the monitoring and the evaluation aspect to eliminate assembling as compared to local production. Thank you very much.
In a nutshell, yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew Kass. I'm from the National Association of Car Wash Operators, known as NACO. I've heard the Premier speak about township development and how they're going to do this, that, and the other tuck shops and things like that. But I haven't heard anyone speak about the township car wash ownerships. You know, when you look in the township and you drive around, you probably find 3-4 car washes in the township. We've engaged your department, local economic development. We've had several meetings, but to date, no credible substance in terms of formalization, capacitation, developing that industry at large, because it's one of the smallest entry level of job creation. The guys go to the side of the street and he picks up a bucket and he starts washing cars. There's a challenge there in terms of the bylaws, where we're addressing it with the local municipality, but there's a bigger challenge in capacitation, because these youth are looking at growing their businesses within the township. You'll probably find we've got members sitting at over 300 members in Tembisa, but no word from government to say how are we going forward. Can we work together in capacitating our members in the township, especially Tembisa. We've got a stronghold in Tembisa, so where to Soshanguve and other places. But let's start with Soshanguve. Thank you. I mean Tembisa.
Hi everyone, my name is Wakim Molokwani. I'm from Thrive Bureau Technologies. We specialize in CRM and ERP solutions, cloud solutions. What we've noticed in the market is that most of these solutions are dominantly international companies that are partnering with South African companies. We have that product here. What we want to know is, what does government, or what is it currently doing to assist us to get those gatekeepers out of the way, or to have a fair stake in the market?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashley Marciano Marishane. I'm an engineer for Mitsubishi Power Africa, which is based in Kusile Power Station. I'm a recently graduate from University of Witwatersrand. So I'm here to ask you, Premier, what solutions do you have to try and decrease the unemployed graduates? Because we've seen most of these students, they go back to varsity not because they want to, but they go back because they're scared of staying at home. So please, I would like to challenge you, Mr. Premier. Can you please try and decrease this unemployment graduate? Thank you.
Greetings everyone. My name is Lucky Hamunalo. I'm a mining engineer by training. So I've got one question and an advice to everybody in the building. One way, or something that was addressed by Dr. Pali, is about human capital. If you look at 17%, that's about, it tells you that we've got a serious problem. And even if we can talk about manufacturing or come with good plans as a progress, if we are not investing in human capital, we still have serious problems.
Yeah, we will still have serious problems.
It's where you're standing.
Okay. No need to Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that if we don't have proper
plan and investment in human capital, we still have these problems. We are a country that we are still importing doctors, we are still importing engineers. What are we doing about our people? And this is the problem that we are growing as society. Currently, we have got 30% as a pass rate in mathematics, in matric or high school level. So you ask yourself, what kind of generation are we breeding? Because that tells you that in skills that requires knowledge at high level, we will not have enough people or enough human capital as a society. So you are coming from the Department of Education, and I believe that you can still have an impact at that level, whereby we need to change our policies, especially in education, and make sure that we are breeding a generation that will help move the society forward. And I mean, the other thing that we need to look at is say, okay, if we are talking about maybe these cameras that we're talking about, that is artificial intelligence at the highest level. Do we have our people not trained enough to be able to operate or be able to analyze what these cameras are doing? And if we can invest in human capital, I think this will be the right investment for us to move the country forward. And the other question that I want to ask is that now, given that we've got Free Africa Continental Trade Agreement, what are we doing as a province to make sure that our youth or our entrepreneurs are not left out in this new era of doing business as Africa? So that's something that we need to leverage on. And what are the capabilities and resources that we are putting in place to ensure that our entrepreneurs, especially the SMME, have got the capacity and capability to be able to leverage on these Free Africa Continental Agreement. I think that's something that we need to look at as a province and say, how do we then empower our youth? I mean, if we're still speaking about, NYPA giving 2,000 or 5,000 to youth to start a business, I mean, what kind of business are we starting with that kind of amount? And the last thing is, can we bring Silicon Valley to Johannesburg and make sure that our youth who are coming out of the universities have got an opportunity, to expand their research and development and bring about, technology and new solutions to our country and province at large. We can do that and stop importing technology from other countries.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for the opportunity and thank you, Premier, for all the work that you've done. It's commendable. I've got 3 parts. The first part is on the issue of crime. Have we really considered the judicial system? Because as much as we can get funds to hire as many as possible, until we change the system, we are still going to recycle the problem. On the issue of taxpayers, when are we relieving taxpayers if we are coming with a lot of concepts, a lot of ideas, a lot of things to save or maybe to maintain, instead of talking on employability? Looking at the youth alone, crime, part of them being crime is unemployability. Are we as a country looking at employment or entrepreneurship? When going into food soldiers, which is your employees, crime as well. If we are really to be honest, it starts with them. We do crime because we see them doing crime. And the issue of bribery and corruption, how will it stop if the ones on top are the ones doing it? And the taxpayers are the ones paying the brunt of servicing things that the employees of government are the ones that are taking all those problems. My last one is we are working in silos. There are so many opportunities coming out outside the country, within the country, business, government. But we are not working together in unity. We are from meetings where the UN has been here, the Commonwealth is here, the AU is here. We are talking about the SDGs for 2030, but we hardly see government officials or departments that need to be represented in those meetings. And when decisions are made on behalf, it's hard for them to understand it at the concept level because they are never part of the beginning process and it affects the communities at the end of the day. Unemployment remains a problem. When are we getting to a point don't work in silos, we work together to make sure that instead of we now giving to the poor communities, we talk about uplifting business. Thank you.
Okay, let us colleagues, at the pace that we are posing our comments and questions and seeing the appetite, we're going to be until tomorrow. Yeah. Can I appeal to you that we value your insights and your contribution, but can you give us your best comment, one comment each, or your best questions, one, so that we can also accommodate others and also afford the Premier to respond. Can we just agree on that? Yes. Please,
the next speaker convener.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. My name is Trevor Kamoto. I'm an inspirational speaker, author, as well as a business consultant, and I also chair the White 11 Business Forum in the city of Tripoli. I think I'll just be quick. Premier, when we speak of government programs, my issue is that we are always looking elsewhere for funding, to private, to corporates, and so forth, and I'm glad that I'm seeing a number of comrades here. When are we going to capacitate government to be able to fund its own program? Because in as much as Dr. Pali is saying that in order to be able to fund government program, we need to expand to a certain level, when are we actually going to be able to do that? And lastly, the issue of real estate in the city. You mentioned in your SONA statement that you are looking into the dilapidated buildings in the city, but not the city alone. We face the same problems in the township. We have old shopping centers that are not of use, and when we try to access them for business opportunity, the city says go to province says go to the city. So can we have a stern resolution to that, so we can be able to access those things for local business people to actually be able to create job opportunities? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Premier, protocol observed. Tobelara Dlamini, the chairperson of NAFCOC in the Westland, and also the chairperson of SISA in Gauteng, which is the Cultural and Creative Industry Federation of South Africa. Mine is very short. Whenever we have this type of engagements, we don't speak, and I'm very happy that we are a former creative. We don't speak about the creative economy. We've just seen a study being done by SACO now, that as a sector, we contribute around 3% in the GDP. But every time and anywhere you have people sitting as business people, even from an invite point of view, the creative sector is not included. And when I do my event called Mzansi Maskandi Experience in Bukhari City, Westland, in the most marginalized region currently, you will find me having 258 people being hired in that event during that period. Now it says, whenever the Premier and everybody plans, please, we beg you as the creative sector, include us in your NASI's planning programs. Include us in everything that you do, because we are still job creators. We can still play a very big role in this economy. You look at the sound system, the creative sector. He's standing in front of us, the creative sector. But when you do these invites, you look at the academics as if we are not, and we are academics in our own rights. Thank you.
We are coming to this. Okay. Can I ask the mic?
I wanted to make it easy. Maybe it's because I enjoy technology. You know, there is some app where people who can just send their questions and they appear here and we answer them. This Stone Age approach is going to create problems. But those that prefer emails, we can put my email address and I can give an email address and people can send. I enjoy reading, so we can respond to all these issues. And I always argue about
Stone Age didn't end because they ran out of stones. No. New ideas came in. That we need to move with time. Sisfile, you know, there are 3 pieces of legislation that are currently in the public domain. And I'm trying to persuade South Africans to participate. And it's a tall order. You are on procurement, and I agree with you. That's the most progressive piece of legislation that this government has produced that can create tons and tons of opportunities for our people. And it can minimize some of the challenges that we have. But the people that are complaining about lack of opportunities, they are not making submissions. And in the absence of those submissions, those that are opposed to the bill are indeed throwing in submissions. I've just told the minister responsible for that piece of legislation, because I went through the objections. You find it's the same letter, they just changed the name. You know, I, Samson, Van Merwe, I object to this on the basis of 1, 2, 3. If there's a grammatic error, all of the submission have the same error. And I said to the minister, regard it as one submission. Don't regard it as 19,000 submissions. Purely because it's one person that is subsidizing the same idea to everyone. So I remain hopeful people that are here that will download that and also participate. The second one that is also with the NCOP, it is the Basic Education Laws Amendment Bill. People have been arguing to say, my child can't go to this school because they say it's an African school. And it's next door. Here is a bill that says, let it be the head of the department that determines the language of the school. Our people are not making those presentations. They are not making those presentations. And I can tell you, I mean, I had discussion with the teams because they were in Gauteng today. And they say, Panyaza, you know, when I grew up, there was a chom advertisement. You are not making submission. The third one, which is also in public participation as well, is the people complain about foreigners. You know, with so many visa applications, you have a visa for a day, visa for family, visa for bereavement, visa for education, visa for all these things. So we are overhauling them so that we have fewer, because people have abused these visas. And I'm not making comment. And I can tell you a comment on Twitter or X or Facebook is not a public comment. So we need to put up that, and the other one is NHI. We have put it in a state of the province address that one piece of legislation, if correctly implemented, correctly capacitated, correctly resourced, it will overhaul and change the health status. But you have people with medical aid say, no, arriba. But when they suffer from cancer and their medical aid is exhausted, they want to come to the public education and health system. So they want to double dip when the poor can't double dip in their system. So we really need to attend to it and deal with it. So I fully concur with your view, Osvi, and the need to have a strong monitoring and evaluation. And I agree with the car washing. It's one economy that, if properly supported, can create opportunity. So guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. And you are right. There is somebody very close to me, Tembisa, that is part of the organization that is speaking about. So we just need to find a way of giving it support and formalizing it and dealing with the issues that they have, including the issues of raised of pilots. Overcame raised the technology and the need to remove gatekeepers. I always argue that if you have a brilliant idea, no matter how many scansotos are there, if the idea is brilliant, the idea will fly. But I take your point that we honestly need to give this up. Actually, you know, unemployed graduates is the issue that I was talking about, planning and how we reposition. I mean, I was shocked when I told that 800 doctors are unemployed. I said to the MEC of Bakai, we can hire them tomorrow as Gauteng. Because you don't leave that kind of skill idly. So I agree with you. We need to find a way. But we have developed something. I think it also responds to the question that was raised earlier on. We have developed something that we call Master Skills Plan 2. The kind of skills and the kind of jobs we need in Gauteng in the next 30 years. We've put a document, it's in the public. But these are the kind of jobs Gauteng will do. Someone spoke about planning in Swallow, so I think. My love for those beautiful birds. So we have the plan, but do the universities share the same idea? So, and that is why that mismatch. I mean, I remember when I was the MEC for education in the province, I went to all the universities that are teaching or preparing educators to say the days of chalkboard are over. You can't teach teachers how to write on a chalkboard. We need to then take them to know how to use technology, devices, laptops and all other things, smart boards. And one dean of education responded, and I was defeated. He said, hey, Panyaza, we are not producing teachers for Gauteng, we are producing teachers for South Africa. So you can come here. Yeah, you can come here and tell us about smart boards. But we are proud now. I think all our grade 9 to grade 12s now, our schools in the townships, it's one learner, one tablet, one teacher, one laptop, one classroom, one smart board, and one school, one free Wi-Fi connectivity. So we have moved as a province on our own. So that's the kind of skills that I'm talking about of graduates, so that we don't compete and deal with whatever. But human capital, I don't know who raised it as a mining engineer. You know, I honestly feel that maybe it's the argument Prof raised of the microeconomy and how we're investing about the future rather than pulling money out of our savings to eat it. You know, human capital is the investment that we need to do. We can do it as a province, but it's a drop in an ocean. There are 3 human capital initiatives that we've started as a province. The first one is to say, let's attract the best and channel them to the right skills. So the best are what? The best are the first student that is number 1, number 2, number 3 in each and every township school. To be number 1, number 2, number 3 in each and every township school, we have demonstrated capability to succeed. So outside NEFSAS, the Gauteng government is the only government that have put aside almost 563 million just for number 1, number 2, number 3 in the townships and take them to higher education institutions as part of building that human capital. It's a massive investment that we are putting as the province. But what happens? Because of the systems, the real best, you've got your Ernst & Young and other things, we are giving them, say, because our bazaar is to say, whatever that you want to learn, even if it's costing us 300,000, even if it's in the UK, as this government called Gauteng, we'll pay for you. Because we need the best out of you. But in the second and third year, Then come an institution, just an added extra 20,000, entice them and remove them from the investment that they've made. So we need to strengthen that aspect. That's the first one. But the second one, good people. If you say I'm a dreamer, as I said, I told you, I'll rather be accused of a dreamer rather than so. Gone are the days that our children's skills development should be for them to pass matric to have that certificate. And if they fail matric, that's the end, they have nothing to show. We need to introduce what we call multi-certification. We've done that. We've went to Huawei and say, Huawei, we want to train, not Huawei, Samsung. We want to train all our grade 7 on how to fix television sets, refrigerators, cell phones, and at grade 7, and give them a certificate about fixing those things. And they said, where do you come from? And they're training them. We said, we went to this company of elevators and lifts to say, we want all our grade 10s. While they're still at grade 10, you train them how to fix elevators, because the future is about lifts and elevators. So we're doing that. We said all our grade 11, before you even pass grade 11, let's teach you a K53 driver's license, so that you don't have to struggle when you finish here. So we need to introduce multi-certification within all the grades, each and every grade. Say grade 6. We know all children from Gauteng that have passed grade 6, we know they can fly drones. That's a skill that they must have. And so we need, as part of our human capital, we need to introduce those kind of things so that you don't rely on matric certificate alone, and when they fail, then we are all frustrated and we have problems. So that's the investment that we're trying to put in Gauteng in terms of promoting human capital and ensure that we've got alternative things that children can. And you plant that seed, they then move on their own, these children, and take all the skills. The third area of our human capital investment is what you call, I've raised it here when I was speaking earlier on, so I'm not going to belabor the point. It's schools of specialization. We did the BMW school. We did a school with one top company. It's in the US. They invested a lot of resources. A school of aviation. They are the only company that that produces the communication network between aeroplanes and all of us. I mean, every year they take 30 of our students to the US and our teachers to the US as part of that training. So we need to say what are the challenges that we have as society or as the economy, and build those skills to solve that problem. So last week we launched the very first school of electricity in Katlehong. Because we can't have electricity challenges and not train children to assist us to solve it in the next 30 years or 15 years. So we need to introduce the schools of specialization to build that human capital so that we can, I mean, the figures that Prof just explained me, I nearly fell from my chair. That you are stuck on 17% for this period. It's really, actually, it's an embarrassment. And then I believe in education, because if you can't get education right, you'll never get the economy right. If you can't get the economy right, you'll never get employment things correct. So I take your point. Maybe crime, the pressures of taxpayers, I really agree with it. And the challenges of corruption and briberies. And, you know, if business people know that if I tender for business, regardless of who I know and how I'm collected, the best proposal will win the day. That's the day that will change the economy and the contracting. Because the major problem is that this thing that I know somebody who knows somebody for us to get, I can tell you it was good at that time because we didn't know who was what, but it has reached its expiry date. Let the best be given the responsibilities and let the best be hired to execute the jobs that we have as the convener of the provinces. If we master that, I'm honest that we'll then make that. Trevor, you raised, we're introducing, we're ready in the state of the province. Actually, 2 days before, when we were preparing the speech for the state of the province, we're ready to introduce the State Bank of Gauteng. We're ready. They resisted, they fought us, it's not possible, it's not. And fortunately, we had an institution that have a banking license who said, Premier, we share your idea, use this license, you can have a state bank and we can start. Because we've got facilities as Gauteng that are similar to state bank. We're giving business people that want to start business funds, people that want to build houses. We're having those particular facilities, but when the president announced that the post bank is going to be a state bank, we welcomed it. And we said we are ready as Gauteng to transact, to be the first one to transact with the state bank. Because we can't have these commercial banks punishing us the way they're punishing us. And we've allowed I need the car, I will get that money within 48 hours. But I need to start a business or improve a house of my grandmother or something, we'll struggle to get those things. So, I mean, we run as the provincial government 150 billion per annum budget. So I can dictate terms, not them dictating terms to me, with that amount of money that we have. So we're ready to go there. You'll see, we are ready now to put a pharmaceutical company. We can't have this huge investment on buying medication for a patient in Gauteng. But all pharmaceutical companies, what they do, they start first with private hospitals, whatever remains, they can give us to us. Yeah. No, man, they must treat us with respect. So we are ready to confront them, to say we can do this thing on our own. We need that license. If we have to buy this medication from alternative institutions, we are ready to do that as Gauteng. So we are investing in capacity in the state to attend to all these things. Bab Chobega, Dlamini, I agree with you on creative arts. I enjoy creative arts. I mean, my free time, either I'm at Market Theatre or all the theatres, I enjoy outdoor events and other things. And I was saying to the team, yeah, that's a market that is untapped. It's a huge market. I mean, Bavaya got 31 December. We don't have a newest Eve, big newest Eve event of Gauteng. We don't. We have to go and flood that place called Cape Town, and you can see when you are there, man. Ramasitela was right there. You know, so we want a major spin-off. We need ideas on the creative markets for Gauteng. We need that. So I'm challenging you with your colleagues, your team. Really, let's go big. Let's go big. I said you can't allow Mbongeni Ngema to die and then that's the end. Mbongeni Ngema was huge, was big. So as Gauteng, we want to adopt Mbongeni Ngema and say we'll have annual events as part of a tribute to Mbongeni Ngema. So I share your areas, and I've asked the team as well, we want to meet with the creative arts in our province and give them support. Give them support. Because you know the creative arts, maybe it's because I'm hooked and I follow that sector too much, you know. Where you think you need to sell water, that era is gone. Take Black Coffee, take DJ, is it Tyler or DJ Waffle. They pack stadiums, they pack, and they're selling our music. They're selling, I mean, Narona Nereza breakdancing, everything was coming here. Now, for the first time, as this particular country, we are taking Amapiano to the world. Yes. But are we harnessing it? Are we taking it as a product? Are we packaging it properly? We are not. I mean, you have And I want to say to Minister of Home Affairs, Minister of Home Affairs, this man called Black Coffee. We don't have to, you just go to Black Coffee. Here is a diplomatic passport. Wherever you go, use this passport. That alone, it confirms appreciation. So Black Coffee Santale, I'm not saying Amy are cute, but we don't appreciate this talent. Where he's going, people are waiting for him. We can't even give him a diplomatic passport to say we value what we are doing. The OTJ Waffle must come back because my pager passport that late. So answer to him about 14 days. My pager passport. So I'm just saying our mentality towards the creative industry as the state, it must change and provide the support that we need to provide to them. Police, it's late. I don't want to say you are attacked coming from an event with the premier because we still have to fight crime. My view is that let's give you our email address. Send to Msani. Just give the email address. We'll flight email address at Msani. Flat us with your ideas. But also PDF. I will also urge you. You know, a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon session, we can then have all the time so that we can engage with everyone. I don't want to delay this program more than
I think you put it very, very nicely. And you can still engage using technology.
Yes.
And I know for a fact that whenever you send something to the premier, the staff gets responded to. I know for a fact. So we're asking that we use the portal, we use the email that is provided to do just that. I think that there's some reasons. Announcements. I'll ask the chair to come and announce something very, very interesting because I can see that you are yearning for something like this. And the beauty about it is this is not the last lap. It's the beginning. Chair, come and announce.
Okay. Thanks. I think it will stay here before because it switch off the machines so that people can tell and everyone is out. Thanks.
And the most reliable one is the Tumsani.
Enjoy reading, so just make it precise. You know, as professionals always say that if you can't make your point within the first 3 minutes, you know, we're doing some proposal to see some big vocal company in South Africa, advising the department. They gave us to say your proposal should be a one-pager. So within a one-pager, you must send a CEO company, who you are, what you want to do, how it's going to benefit them, and how it's going to benefit or reach the objective. Within a one-pager. They don't take 25 proposals, you know, thesis. No, we've done our thesis, is fine. Now, within 3 minutes, you must make your point. Within 2-3 paragraphs, say what you want to say, then you can get a response, a response. But we're doing this series now. This place is small for us, others were online. So we're going to Tshwane on the 14th of March. So tell your friends and your colleagues in Tshwane, they must meet us on the 14th of March. If you are here, at least you have had an opportunity to get interacted because of the premier. So please don't book and block the Tshwane system. Please, we plead with you. So let's work in that manner. We will see if we still have time to go to West Rand and these others. The arts and creative, there is a program. Make sure that you see me or with Aniswa. We're planning a program for the arts and creative. Let me take over. Please come and appreciate the premier and Dr. Pan. Thank you so much.
Good evening, professional, business and academics. Today is a challenging day for you. As young as I am in the PTT, I appreciate everybody who sat here until this time, and my sincere appreciation to our academia. You always challenge us in PPF. Protocol observed, DSG. I want to come away by that time. I think it's going to be one of those things that I don't introduce. Yeah, no, it was amazing. Our amazing. Yeah, no, when the opportunity, you know, this is part of the gift teams. Yes. So I'm going to do the honor. I would need the chaplains to help me. We participate. Not changing. We participate. This is for our premier. And this, yes. You need tissue. You must bring that photo. Yes, Jack. One of the sprinters in the PPM. Please head over to the honors. You see, oh man, no, lovely. But he missed it. But don't think I'm meant to do a woman's job.
This is not true.
No, Premier, can he tell the story about the tissues?
2 seconds. Thank you very much. My name is So a story about we run a project where we support schools, we teach kids maths in 4 to 12, also teach parents how to help their kids with homework. Through the maths class, we also pay students their stock fare, we also consent to run schools. So the toilet paper, the toilet paper we sold for S4, it's our toilet paper with purpose, where we fundraise. For every pen we sell, 1 rand goes towards the hashtag Become a Natural Elements program, building safe toilets for rural schools, and then also paying student debt.
That deserves a round of applause. Now, let me do it right. Coordinator, can you coordinate this one before I don't tell you I find man. You do the honors. There's things in here that would make you remember PPF all the time. Yes. Please put it on when you feel like it. When you go to walks and runs, there's something that we can put it on. Right? With everyone that made it here. Please put it on. With everybody that is here, from any region that you're from, PPF would love to welcome you. We've seen that we've got very progressive people this side. So imagine if you can come through and be proactive, right? With that being said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks.